Hello, and welcome to another Keyfactor community video. I'm Sven, and today we're going to look at how OCSP works with EJBCA. For those that don't know what OCSP, or the Online Certificate Status Protocol, is, it's another way to do a revocation check of a certificate with a web call to just send up the serial number and get a response back to know whether it's valid or not without having to download the whole. So let's start out walking through admin web and how we can do some things with OCSP and EJBCA. With EJBCA, in a single instance of the CA, like we have here, if we send an OCSP request up to the CA cert, or the CA key for that matter, the sign key, would sign the OCSP response. So how do we configure the OCSP URL that we assert in the certificates for an identity? Well, we do that in two places. We can do that in the certificate profile, if we look at one here. And down here, where we have use the CA defined, or actually we start here where we want to use an authority information access, the AIA. So we'd click this, and then we would sit here. Then we would check the box for the OCSP locator used in the CA, which is here. Otherwise, if we want to override that with a different value, we can uncheck that box and set this up to go to a URL of our choice that would not use what's defined on the CA. But for, I'd say 99% of the configurations I do with EJBCA, I'm leaving this here so I can set it in one place and not have to manage it per profile. On the CA, let's go over and take a looky at this guy, our sub-CA. We set the URL down here. So this is the CA defined one, and when we have that checkbox set, we can set it in one place now, and all our certs would assert this value in the AIA extension for the OCSP URI. So far we've talked about just a single instance and having OCSP responses signed by the CA sign key. What about if I wanted to use EJBCA community for an external VA? What does that kind of look like? Well, that looks like we would need to do a crypto token with an OCSP signer. So we'd make a token, generate a key, then we would go over to the responder and we could create a new one over here. So we'll call it this IT sub CA I have. We'd select our crypto token, we've got the key here, and then we just go down to the bottom and do create. And then we go back to the overview, and what we would need to do now is click the CSR button. We'd go get the CSR signed by this external CA, and then import that back in. But wait, it won't import if we try to do that. Well, we need to have the CA chain in here. So we'd actually want to go to import our CA cert, so we can go browse for that, and we've got that on the desktop here. So we need this. And we can select the little text we've got, import. And now we've got the sub-CA here. So now we could at least import the signed certificate at this point, but we're not going to get any OCSP responses because how do we know what's good or bad? Well, we need to go over here then, and we'd import the CRL. So then we can select this guy here and find the mouse now. And we'd import for our sub-CA. So now we've got a CRL in here. And so we're almost there. But what we'd actually have to do is go back over to here and then check the box for non-existing is good. We would need to check this because when you're not using the Enterprise Edition in the peering protocol where you're pushing the certificate data table to the validation authority, we only know if it's bad from the CRL and we don't know all the other certs it's issued. So to be able to get a good response, we can check this box and we're ready to go. As we talked about in the services video, this is where to update that CRL that we're importing over here, we could use that service to do the CRL downloader to automatically import this. That way I don't have to come here every X amount of hours to import. Now, if I wanted to override that URL and pull it from another web server, I could easily do that by going to my external CA edit, and I could point to another location, like let's say I just have a web server in my environment and I pull a bunch of CRLs in there for my external CAs, I could point to that internal server now to grab those without having to go out and follow the CDP URI and the CA that's above this to actually get it. Or actually, it's not in there. It's going to follow the one in the certificate, sorry. Anyhow, that's totally possible, and this is actually quite popular in a lot of environments to use this. Now that we've looked at how we would set up EJBCA for external VA, that pretty much covers the tutorial that I wanted to go over to show how OCSP works from the CA cert, or if we wanted to do an external VA and set that up externally so we could do OCSP separate from our CA instance. And then, of course, all our docs for OCSP are on the doc.primekey.com, and you can come over and search OCSP, and we've got a lot of material on this. And if you have any comments, please leave those below in the video here, or come over to the Keyfactor GitHub discussions for EJBCA community and start a discussion with us, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. All right, thanks, guys. See you on the next video.